Okay, day 108, the DynCorp harvest. I'm going to go ahead and say General Grange here is going to be at the destination end of these hearts with the McCormick Foundation in Chicago. And I'm going to say still that their human prisoners are being taken from Haiti and shipped to Chicago. And Home and Square is going to be the holding tank for that. I think that the excess killings in Chicago also is a source of hearts now as well. I've done some more epidemiology on that. But it's just basically a supply chain, like we've said from the beginning. You just follow the rat lines. I'm going to be on Jeff Rent's tonight. It's this promised software. Basically, this was the software that Bill Weld, our VP candidate for the Green Party, stole from the inventors of the software, and they found out bad guys like this all over the world. They used other intelligence agencies to find out all the bad guys. Then they hired the bad guys to do this, to get the hearts. Then they hired the police to put down the bad guys to get more hearts. So that's basically the business. As I said before, it's a assembly line first invented in Chicago. I think McCormick, the original McCormick guy, I think he was Army intelligence. He had a whole bunch of hospitals as well, and they were going through the Hull House, I believe. But just like a farmer would be afraid of viruses, and then they would want, at your local farm bureau, you'd be testing different viruses and testing different vaccines all the time. The trafficking is the same thing. That's just meat on the hoof, and the harvesting is slaughterhouse. So just moves in a line right across here. And I think you're going to see USAID buying the slaughterhouses. I mean, you're going to see USAID paying for DynCorp bases all around the world. And the foundations are going to be on the other end at the hospital end. So this is just a supply chain. So I'm going to go ahead and say now that the two key cities where the hearts are coming from is going to be Port-au-Prince and the other one's going to be Cité Soleil. They're going to be your worst slums. That's where you're going to see the Yale and Harvard anthropologists kind of, taking tick marks about how these vaccines are doing. I don't think they know that the vaccines have been put there by Bill Swing and other people have been vectored in. I also think that there's some validity to my theory about Hamilton's. They used to encourage people to go to Hawaii and then they would bring the mothers to Hawaii to have kids, and then they would go back to wherever, Indonesia or whatever, and then you'd have 5 or 6 or 7 little kids running around that could be potential organ donors because there's an HLA match with your relatives. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that actually comes from Charles Lindbergh. He was a part of that whole group. He was influenced by that whole genetic group, eugenics group that believed in this kind of a master race kind of thing, and that you needed to promulgate the master race at any cost. And if you had to use some chattel to do that, that was fine. I like Charles Lindbergh, but that paperclip group, Operation Paperclip from the Nazis, started the CIA. It's at the core of the CIA. So, but this idea is with a twist now. This is the lemonade idea. It's like, well, why don't you? They did it once they did it first in Dominican Republic with these kids. And so, like, let's have a brown kid or whatever. I don't even think you end up that brown. But now it's lemonade. Let's have a black kid. So he'll be a sports star. He'll jump like, Blake Griffith, who's also half Haitian, all these advantages. We'll have another family raise the kid for you, and you'll be kind of proud. It's almost like horse breeding in a way. So I think, you promote it with a show like Hamilton on Broadway. I'm just putting it out there. I know that's very speculative. On the solid side, on the supply chain side, it is going to be dock to dock for no inspection of the organs. It is going to be flex jets. They're going to go to Miami, or they're going to go be flown to Miami because of the prisoners, or they could go by ship, either one by cruise ship. They're going to be live donors is the key point I'm making. And they're probably going to go 20 at a time. These jets are going to hold about 20. And they're going to go up through, they're going to be flown. I think Abel Danger's sister was part of that at one time. They call it Con Air. It's the Marshal Service. The Marshals come on the plane, tell the guy not to talk. They fly the guy. They get out of O'Hare. They get picked up. They go to, Home and Square. And they're going to be sitting there in Home and Square as basically meat on the hoof. So, Monica Peterson, if we were really trying to investigate this case, it's really easy to find out the people around her. And I'll show that in the next slide. But I just wanted to say that this, people have been asking me about Shorebank. Shorebank is transitioned. They basically collapsed the bank after they after they laundered the money. It's now Microlinks, but it's another microfinancing scheme. You'll find that India right now, they want them to go totally cashless, so it's microfinancing. It's all to support this, the kidneys, $267,000 or something like that. They're also just changing the name of the Clinton Foundation to the Digicel Foundation. So they're sharding. Basically, the Clinton Foundation is being sharded, and all the Frank Juster partners are the shards. So it's just by counting the foundations, we're going to be able to find the 1,100 hidden donors. So that's good. I should have followed my own rule about why Bill Swing vectored this virus across Haiti. There's oil all over the place here. Somebody sent me the oil map. I couldn't believe I didn't see that. And then the coastline, it's all hotels. That was all shantytowns. Now they're putting in these hotels. The sting operation, the Glenn Beck Underground Railroad, was at one of those hotels. You're going to find this guy named Sammy. Is the guy. Sammy over here is going to own an import-export company. He's going to be working with drug dealers. Facebook friend is going to be Cliff. Here in Haiti, somehow these guys like Cliff and El Chapo make these miraculous escapes. Here's the other side of Hamilton is, hey, you're going to end up with, this, walk on the wild side and try a little lemonade, and this is the kind of the sail side. This is the Calico Beach Club where the Glenn Beck bust was, and here's another Decameron. I need to map the 37 hotels. I still don't have that list for the Decameron, but they're all going to be built after 2010 with USAID money. At least USAID concrete, wood building products. That's where this is going to be where all the building stuff should have gone. So that was supposed to build the low-cost housing. So anyway, here's Monica Peterson. She's teaching social studies in room 306. All these people, all these professors in social studies sitting right next to her are going to probably know her. Teachers that teach next to each other probably know each other. You're going to find also that the principal is going to be in the Sow a Seed Foundation with Donna Caron, okay? Well, that's the Union High School right here, the place she taught at. So I think that when these women from the previous page are going to be paid they're going to be at that Carol Park, 1,000 beds. They're going to be just like you would breed horses. They're going to have the baby for you, and you're going to have a baby at La Différence School. It's a couple of things back. But anyway, there's this kind of really good school up there that they built for kids, and they're going to raise that kid for you. Now, you're not going to be able to say it's your kid, but you'll be able to follow its sports career and all that stuff. And anyway, Sow a Seed is going to be all your elite of Haiti. And here's Donna Caron. This is Fashion for Haiti, 1 million hearts. It looks exactly like an organ, a heart, right out of a body. There's a couple of different ones that she has. So this is the destination end for the hearts. If you look at the epidemiology, you don't have to be a doctor. You can just see, the neighborhoods and correlate the neighborhoods with the needs. I mentioned this, I think, in the first slide. There's our F-15s, Sounds of Freedom. You're going to have one over here and one over here. It's not going to be correlated to the rest of the crimes. It's going to be correlated to the proximity to hospitals. Time you see this thing where you have a spike of homicides that's almost 5 times or 6 times or 20 times higher than any other major city. I think this is the closest one is LA, 3 times. That's what leads me to believe it's home and squares where the live prisoners are going. And they're just basically meat on the hoof waiting for it to be harvested until somebody needs a transplant. Also, the other great thing about this site here is you're going to see times a day. And this site for Chicago, you can see actually all of them occur late afternoon, early morning, the deaths especially. And then you have a lot of other shootings, so it just kind of all fogs together. But the red is, I think you have people watching these, doctors, nurses, organ procurement companies, some kind of middleman, some foundation employee is going to be watching these saying, oh, you've got a heart, get over here, call the pathologist, let's run the slices, let's see if it's viable, especially the kidneys and bone marrow. I think the heart, you're in trouble unless the EMS is right there. You only got an hour. But anyway, anytime you put this business in the hands of Wall Street, the business of war in the hands of Wall Street, you're going to end up with long wars. And then the police action that follows, you can end up with long policing actions. So it's like the guy who's the bouncer at the bar. He's got an incentive to start fights every once in a while. So this is the troubling part of this is we were 17-1 in the Gulf War, mostly soldiers to consultants. Now we're over 1-1. And with the war spending going down, they're moving this type of activity to the cities of the United States. So the entrapment schemes with Jeffrey doing the brownstones, trying to entrap people, and then the revenge groups saying, Sean Spicer's a bad guy because he, slept with or maybe Sean Spicer didn't even sleep with the 17-year-old. Maybe he just sent the 17-year-old messages. That's all I need to convince a revenge group to, well, now we need to seize his assets. So if he didn't have a background with Boesky, Madoff, and Milliken, then I wouldn't have the problem. This is the first thing you get, by the way, when you're a CIA, you're in country as an officer at CIA, you got $10,000. First thing you get is the low-light camera kit. First thing. And then you got to go, obviously, compromise a few police officers, then you go get whatever you need. So I'm going to say RTI surgical. I think one of the great things about once you identify these entities is they leave all kinds of footprints. All black operations leave footprints. There's going to be people with Facebook and so forth, and that's a perfect trail to the actual details of the supply chain. And I'm sure they're saying, well, these people died anyway in the earthquake, so the bone marrow is there. That's why we harvested it, all these rationalizations. So what I'm saying is that it's all about asset forfeiture. All these trafficking clinics, these brownstones, this is going to be your teacher. He's also going to be your teacher on torture. He's also going to be your federal prosecutor. He's all these things. And unfortunately, the police forces are using these girls as bait. And it's we call JTTF. Okay, here's a quick snapshot of DynCorp in North America. They have about 25,000 employees around the world. This is old data, about 6 years, so they're in more countries than this, 32, 150 sites. I believe DynCorp's going to be running a lot of your black sites, by the way, and I think Julian Assange is in one of them. Some of the courses they have, though, are really troubling, like this Phoenix training course here. It's training in surveillance, counter-surveillance, surveillance detection, and so forth. They're teaching that to these sheriffs all across. There's 3,000 counties, basically. They're teaching that to the sheriffs. They never put the sheriff in as the top guy. They usually put him in I've noticed the deputy or assistant deputy, the DynCorp guy. And then this guy retires, or they'll figure out, there's our F-15s again, they'll figure out some reason to retire the guy. He'll have some sex scandal or something, and then they'll get their guy in there. Sounds of freedom. They turn on the afterburners for me. And you're going to see USAID being used to expand military bases. So every time you expand these bases, these are service employees. Oh, by the way, you'll see a murder video in the first slide where casque bleu is said frequently. That means blue helmets. So the people murdering all these people, they just basically drive in with a whole bunch of MRAPs and just start shooting randomly. 10,000 rounds of ammunition just into houses. You'll see about 18 people killed. That was just because there was a protest. They had a protest in Cité Soleil, and you just have to watch the film. It's just an unbelievable thing. Missing 302s, yeah. So here's Judicial Watch yesterday in court. The judge told them we'll look at it again in 17 months. So all they wanted to know is who are the 19 State Department people that illegally used Gmail, which is a felony, and there are emails. The judge put us off, even for metadata, for 18 months. Basically, they're going to do two more delays until after the next election. So everyone said, who's the walk-in? Who's the walk-in? There's a lot of articles out now today that the walk-in was Patrick Kennedy. You'll see a little handwritten note talking about, dang, it's so hard to reclassify emails. Does Hillary know how hard this is? So it's pretty obviously that it is Patrick Kennedy. I believe this whole Vault 7 thing is just a basic distraction with a bunch of conspiracy theorists and so forth. As soon as I saw the 9/11 stuff, I knew that it was disinfo, because I haven't seen any proof of life from Assange. So I think they're trying to occupy our minds until the 19th of February. And then I think he's going to go away to Sweden. You're never going to see his face again. And I think it's going to be Kurt Bildt that's going to be in charge of that project with NATO, the same guy who was going to take over Albania in the Soros letter. And there's something else I was going to say about that, but I won't because I can't remember. Oh, yeah. The secured communications facility was kind of the giveaway, and a long-time State Department employee. Those are the two giveaways. So Ava Bartlett's on the Facebook group. Say hi to Ava for everybody. Get her to promote the series, if you would. And again, I think the future of journalism is in data analysis, and I think you're going to find a lot of DynCorp expenditures in the, like IOM got a lot of the grants for building housing. I think IOM is going to be shelters and settlements. I think that's going to be where your hotel money is going to go. And I think I got it right, almost exactly right, where that money is going to be spent in these hotels down here in the Midlands. And then Petit Frere Issoire is going to be the opposite end. It's going to be like Union School. There's going to be like 30 feeder schools. So Petit Frere Issoire, I'm sorry, I mispronounced that, is going to be here in Port-au-Prince. Those are going to be the kids that get sick and that are going to go for slicing at CDC. But then there's also a cover. You can have a van that's going up this way to take these kids up here for wherever the operation is going to go. So it's kind of this triage. It's both sick kids and healthy kids. They're just triaging. The CIA officer here, Conway, she's just triaging. But they want to follow up on those viruses. They want to see how those viruses grow. So no luck on the 19 Gmail accounts. What if we just sent a message to Jason Chaffetz and say, hey, why don't you call Andrew McCabe in front of the Oversight Committee specifically, and if he wants to take the fifth, take the fifth. But just say, look, why don't we at least get the same thing that Comey gave us last year, which is an announcement of the metadata. Tell us who the recipients are, tell us how many emails to those recipients, and tell us if they're marked classified or not. Done. That's what Comey did with the 60,000 emails with Hillary, and why not the same thing for the 650,000? No state secrets will be given away by that. No undercover agents will be exposed, and so forth. And if they are a CIA agent that's a recipient, then just redact that piece. If it's McCullough, just redact McCullough. Okay. Okay, that's it for today. Well, that's it for right now.